I became a bridal designer when I used to work with my grandmother, an Italian grandmother, who used to ask me to help her pinning, and I thought, oh, I like this. I really enjoy, so every time we'd sit together, we'd make dresses. By the age of about 13, 14, I was already making my own clothes. Every weekend, I would design myself a new outfit to go out in. So I knew that obviously I wanted to do, but obviously being a fashion designer, everybody wants to be a fashion designer. And I just thought, is that the real world? Could I actually get a job in that particular field? And then when I went to see a careers officer, when in sixth form, they said, everything you've told me, you would absolutely be fantastic as a designer. I said, would I get in? Have I got the qualifications? She goes, you've got all the qualifications. She goes, let me get all the information for you. And I don't remember the name of this particular careers person, but if I were to see her again, I'd thank her because she's given me the best career I could possibly have. It was just amazing that I could actually get into the college. And actually, when I finished college, I did a 4-year degree in fashion design to actually be offered 3 jobs at the end of it. One was with Marks and Spencer's, another one was with John Charles, and the other one was with the children's wear company. But obviously what I really wanted to go into was bridal wear and evening wear. My first job was with a company called John Charles, which I actually ended up working with them twice. Literally, I went in as a junior designer. I then didn't feel that I could get any further because there was a senior designer there that I thought, she'll never leave. She's always going to be a senior. I needed to move on. So I left. Then when Cherry, who was the senior designer at the time, left, I was then asked to come back to be the senior designer after 5 years. So that was a real achievement for me to go back to the company because I learnt lots from Cherry. She was a designer that had worked in the 60s, had worked with Mary Quant, was her first job, and amazing. She taught me lots. I mean, when I first got to my first job, the first thing she made me do was cut a dress, and I think, wow, I've spent 4 years at college designing, and she's going to make me cut dresses. But it was all part of the learning. It was all the shapes that she was giving me. Then they taught me how to grade patterns. So what I learned in 6 months at Ellis Bridals and John Charles was probably more than I'd actually learned in 4 years at college. The training was amazing there. I've been working for Ronald Joyce for the past 11 years. When I was working at Ellis Bridals and John Charles, the owner of Ronald Joyce was always coming to me at the shows and saying, when are you going to come and work for me? I laughed it off. We were always laughing and joking, but I knew that he was serious. But I had my bosses looking at me and I couldn't sort of say, no. But one day I decided it was time to move. I had been with John Charles for 10 years and it was time to move on. And I rang Mr. Siegel and said, if that job offer is still going, I will accept. When I arrived at Ronald Joyce, the styles were dated, the fabrics were old, they were a bit old-fashioned, the fit was incorrect. So I knew that if I could change all of those things, Ronald Joyce, with the brand that Ronald Joyce had, I could make this into a really successful company because it had all the infrastructure was there to be able to build it back up again, which is what we're doing now. After a very successful bridesmaid collection, I introduced a bridesmaid collection. I gave them a business plan, told them how many pieces we could sell. They were very impressed. In a matter of 3 months, we were almost able to do 30,000 bridesmaids. We had taken over the whole marketplace, so it had been really successful. Mark Phillips then gave me the opportunity. He said, look, can you do what you've just done on bridesmaids on our bridal wear side? And I said, well, obviously if it's okay with the other designers, then I'll go ahead and do it. So we worked together with the other designers and we started to build that bridal side back up again because it was falling slightly. The first collection I designed for Ronald Joyce was in 2001. I knew that I had to change the fabrics, first of all. I had to change the complete look of the collection. When we got to Harrogate, we could see the customers were confused. They were going, wow, it's changed so much. But we had such fantastic reaction at Harrogate. My bosses were over the moon. The first bridal collection was a lot more elegant. It was no longer using the brocade fabrics that they had used in the past. The waists were more fitted, the styling was more intricate, whereas they were using very basic, maybe because they used to manufacture in the UK and the skills were no longer there, whereas we had then moved into to Hong Kong and China, into the Far East, and whatever designs you gave them, they were able to interpret immediately. When I decided to take over the bridal wear market, the first thing that I had to do was actually go out and do some designer days with the shops. I actually had to see who was buying our dresses and who wasn't buying our dresses to find out what they really wanted. And many shops were telling me, look, they're no longer that thin size 10 girl. The average size that's coming into this bridal shop is a 16, a 14, a 16. So you need to be able to create a dress that's going to make them look fabulous and thin. They want to be thin on that day. So I decided to work on the interior of the dress first. So I built the whole of the inside, made sure that the factories knew exactly what interior I needed for that particular dress, that pulls that bride in, gives them a waist, and that's it. If they look thin in a dress, they'll buy it. One particular dress that's in pink, and that has been phenomenal. We have sold it, I think we've now been selling it for the last 4 years, and it's still our best-selling dress. And when I go to the designer shows, that particular dress is picked up every single time. I can sell a dress at every designer day that I go to still, after 4 years of designing that particular dress. I tend to use lots of ruching, hiding the stomach. The ruching is always at an angle, which slims a girl down. There's certain basic rules that you need to know when you're designing dresses. It's not just all about just sketching a dress. You've got to know how it can flatter a body. And I think I was using all of these things and it was working. So obviously brides were coming in and buying our dresses. Lots of brides are telling me I add a jacket to complement the dress, to cover their arms. In the evening, I give them that evening wear look, and they're not having to change. So they're buying one dress at an affordable price, but they're able to have different looks throughout the day. And I think that was the key. There's 2 collections, Ronald Joyce and Victoria Jane. Victoria Jane is probably my favourite collection. It's very modern. I'm able to put some of the fashion trends in. Ronald Joyce is a much more traditional wedding dress with the big bellowing skirts, the romantic look. With Victoria Jane, I've used fabric to create a collection. With Ronald Joyce, I've embellished it with lots more beadwork. The type of girl that buys Ronald Joyce wants the complete beaded bodice, the big skirt, and the girl that buys Victoria Jane will be that more modern, simpler, less fussy bride. When a particular dress comes back, I can tell if it's going to be a good seller, and it normally is. I think I have enough experience now to know if it's the right kind of dress that's going to sell. I mean, I love the one shoulder look. It's not a look that always sells, but that will sell this season because it's a big fashion statement at the moment. At the moment, we're creating a miniature version of the bride's wedding dress. Normally everyone wants to stock it in their lofts, but what we're going to do is going to create a little dummy that they can actually put their wedding dress on, and they've actually got it on display. And also even for the shops to actually display in their windows the kind of dresses that they're actually working on a price at the moment to try and develop this, which I think is going to be a great idea, because whenever I've shown it to, I would buy it, but obviously it's quite costly, and whether the bride would actually pay for a miniature version, I know I would. Ronald Joyce sells to about 250 stockists in the UK. Last year we expanded to Italy, Spain, Norway. We've built the brand up as much as we possibly can here, and we are now working on our customer service, making sure that the 250 stores that buy our gowns have got a fabulous service. So basically what I want to do with Ronald Joyce and the Veni Infantino name is to be able to take my bridal dresses into every single country and make sure that every girl can have a designer looking dress at an affordable price. Today we're shooting Ronald Joyce bridal for product shots. It's for our European agents to be able to sell from a photograph. Your hair looks really good like this.
Okay, good, good, very good, very good.
I'm working on the next bridal collection. Always trying to think of back detail. Back detail is so important on a wedding dress. It's always the back that shows first before the front. So always try and design the front, and then if the back doesn't work, then I scrap it and start again. The factory tends to send me tiny beaded swatches that I get ideas from, and then I can actually sketch them onto the actual sketch. I ask them to do as much as they can because they actually have beaded designers in the factory, or sometimes we'll actually design a beadwork and send it to the factory. Then they'll then send us a sample like this, and then I'll sketch it on the sketch. What I do, I give them a sketch, and then I give them like a jigsaw puzzle with all the tiny pieces that I actually want on the back of the sketch. Then they know exactly what to do with all the tiny details on the particular sketch. I was working in this industry for 24 years, obviously doing a lot of trunk shows around the country. I'm not just seeing models, as we saw earlier. I'm seeing real brides who get married, and they're telling me what they want. They're telling me that they want their arms covered, they want lots of brides, they either want lots of embellishment or they want no embellishment whatsoever. Within the collection, I'm trying to design a collection that has a mixture of these things. Like this particular dress had no embellishment whatsoever. It was all in the cut, so it's a different kind of girl that's going to wear this type of dress. We go to Paris and literally we go to a fabric show. And the moment I hit that fabric show, it's like a light switches on inside you, and you basically see a fabric, you can actually already imagine the dress. It's that easy, and that's where it all starts for me, that particular show. And when I come back, it's so easy. Literally, I can start sketching because I've got fabrics in front of me. The whole thing inspires. Fabrics do inspire a designer. Many times I look at films. Obviously, everything comes around, and films are a great inspiration. Books, I travel all over the world, constantly seeing things, shoes with embellishment. Anything can inspire us, basically. Ronald Joyce was always manufactured in the UK. They were known for their quality, they were known for their deliveries. Unfortunately, we couldn't compete with the prices. Everybody was moving to the Far East. We also had to move to the Far East. So we then decided to move our production in 1990. We then moved our whole production to the Far East. Deliveries weren't great in the beginning. Obviously, the transportation, the cost, and in the years that we manufactured in the UK, we won bridal manufacture for 14 years on the trot. We were able to receive an order in the morning, we were able to complete that order in the evening. That's how good the Ronald Joyce team were. Unfortunately, because of the price and also the skills, the skilled labour has actually deteriorated here in this country. No one seems to be able to, or is training to be a machinist or a pattern cutter. They all want to do the glamorous side, the designing side. So we also had to move with the industry and move to the Far East, which is a shame because obviously we can't provide the service that we used to have when we were in the UK. But we now have our own factories in Indonesia who give us a fantastic service, and the beadwork is beautiful and amazing, and we just cannot compete in this country. I'm trying to give them a designer look at an affordable price. So it's the middle market that I'm trying to give that average girl a real designer look that she may not be able to afford in the designer shops. But that's what I'm aiming at. And I'm also trying to do it for different shapes and sizes. I'm not just trying to do it for the slim girl. I'm trying to do it for every girl. I'm going to try and make them look fabulous on that particular day. I'm going to try and make them look as thin as possible and as glamorous as possible. And that's my aim. Once I've approved the proto sample, Tracy will then go over the sample, make sure it's a proper fit, the correct sizing has been used, make sure, like this particular dress, will need to be shortened. So this is going to have to be cut into 3 different lengths because the shop will not be able to shorten this dress. So it's all that kind of thing that we need to then relate back to the factory and send them all notes on this particular dress ready for production. So then Tracy sends off her notes on the first proto, and then they will resend another one. She'll check the sample and make sure it's ready for production. Because this particular dress has a lace border, obviously people come in different shapes and sizes, and obviously this length is for a 5'9" girl. So we have to make this particular dress in 3 different lengths, so they're going to have to match up their shoes to this dress. So Tracy will write all of those notes. What happens is that Tracy would give a size chart out to the shop. When a bride comes in, she's measured, and then she will look on our size chart, on the Ronald Joyce size chart, and decide what size this particular bride is to be. And then she'll order the sizing, so that's how we do it. We give them about an inch tolerance so that they know exactly what size to order for the particular bride. Today we're shooting Ronald Joyce Bridal for product shots. It's for our European agents to be able to sell from a photograph. They will then sell to the shops, and they will order their samples from these shots that we do today. Okay, here we have 14 dresses from the Ronald Joyce collection for Spring/Summer 2010. I'll just talk through some of my favourite pieces. I've got this one, which I think is beautiful. So it's not a very full dress, but a semi-fitted dress. And then Ronald Joyce is very well known for our big wedding dresses. They're probably our best sellers in Ronald Joyce. And then we have more of a slinky lace with a beautiful jacket in Ronald Joyce, which is gorgeous. And we actually sell colour really well. We're known for our colour for Ronald Joyce, and we're finding that more brides are going for colour. So we always tend to put light golds, pinks, just hints of champagne maybe, and European customers are going for colour too, which is great. We've introduced a soft satin, which is gorgeous and falls beautifully. Once you see this modelled on Sophia, you'll see what I mean about this one. And then we've got some very elaborate slinky dresses with lots of work. We tend to find that brides either love lots of bling or no bling whatsoever. So we've sort of done a mixture. We've brought in a team of Spanish photographers who we've worked with several times, and they seem to know exactly what we're looking for because we're actually shooting for Europe. That's why we've decided to go with Spanish photographers today. We've got 25 dresses to shoot for Ronald Joyce, which after that we will do Victoria Jane, which is a more slinky type, evening wear type of collection that people would wear on the beach, or perhaps a civil wedding. To the right of me, we've got our collection for Spring/Summer 2010 for Ronald Joyce. Behind me, we have our photographers. Behind me on the left, we have all our jewellery that has been brought over from Spain, and our stylist. And here we have the hairdresser and makeup artist doing the hair for Sophia. Okay, so we actually might need, an underskirt on this as well, so I'm going to just pull one out.
Good.
Her hair looks great in this one.
To me.
Her hair looks really good like this.
Good, very good, very good.
Chin está bien.
A little the elbow, a little open. Yes, yes. It's okay. Chin up. Good. Okay. Fine.
The final few shots are being shot behind me of Spring/Summer 2010. I can't wait to see the photos. I'm sure we'll have a fabulous catalogue.